Welcome back to another episode of Meant Event News. My name is Jaime, and if you're new to the channel, what I like to do here is give my crazy thoughts and opinions on trending news around the globe, and I find ways to connect them to conspiracies sometimes, because conspiracies are undefeated. I mean, they're even letting Alex Jones back. Alex Jones is back on YouTube. This is wild. How long would it last? I remember one time it lasted like a few weeks. I don't even think it lasted a whole month, but he was like, his subscribers were growing like by the millions every day. So I'm excited to see what he has to say out there, and a lot of people get more exposure to him and don't have to go to the website and everything. But I've been talking about a little bit of the corruption that's been going on in my state, and got a little backlash online, some things from one of my episodes about a Michigan resident, getting some push and pressure from the mayor of Dearborn. And I guess some headlines are going around and they're asking for his resignation and things like that. But there are a lot of things was going on about the naming of a street after someone who is a renowned journalist and things like that. But some people say there's allegations of him supporting, Hamas and like the other things that are going on. And so that was, and some other things that, bombings and things like that happened. And so that caused a lot of controversy. So what I decided to do was just have a little fun and decide to do a little more deep diving. And I found some terrorist connections to my state of Michigan. And I thought you guys would just enjoy this one. So, like I said, sit back and relax. And if you guys are new to the channel, I'd appreciate if you would subscribe, hit that like button, and maybe hype up that video and turn on the notifications so you don't miss an episode. So the Lashish restaurant, which is a very famous restaurant around here, is very popular. The whole chain is now a defunct restaurant chain, was the center of a 2025 federal investigation into a money laundering scheme involving its fugitive founder, Talal Shaheen. Prosecutors say that his money had been sent to terrorist organization, the Hezbollah. And so in order for that to happen, all this stuff was going on right here in Michigan while we were enjoying the delicious food, because the food was delicious. There's no doubt about it. But all this whole time, the funds, I guess, were going to a bad terrorist group. While we were enjoying our great dinners. Little did we know, the money was going to that place and doing, funding some bad things. And there's a person here in Michigan. His name, I'm really going to pronounce these really bad, so I apologize ahead of time. His name is Ibrahim Musalabi, a Michigan man who traveled to Syria to join the fight for ISIS. He was convicted for providing material to support terrorist organizations in 2023. Right here in Michigan. While the governor's, making money disappear and nobody knows where it's at. And they're asking for more while it disappeared. Like, we might find it if you give us more. This stuff is happening here. Here's another guy. Jarrett M. Mackey. In September of 2025, a Detroit man was charged with 11 counts of making terrorist threats for calls made to a business in Illinois. You got to love it. You got to love Michigan. I mean, there's never a dull moment here. It sucks at the same time we're having good sports teams. We find out about these terrorist connections in my own state. Mohammed Haji and Muse and Mohammed Muse. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but that was all the names before the article started. These Lansing residents were convicted of terrorism charges in 2021 and 2019 for conspiring to provide materials to ISIS. So these guys I don't know what business they might have had, or like where they were getting paid, or if they were just working and like sending all parts of their money, to fund another terrorist group. Under this investigation, these people got busted. I mean, I'm glad they got busted because there's a lot of crazy stuff that could be happening if they didn't. Who knows? They could have saved some lives with these busts. But you never know. They say when you cut off one head, 3 more come or so, grow back or something. So some weird talk like that. But let's continue. Trevor Pratt, a Detroit man, was arrested and charged in May of 2024 for attempting to provide money to ISIS as well. So this guy was working, multiple jobs, doing some shifts, and I guess he was sending large amounts of his percentage of his funds to another terrorist group here, right from Michigan. You gotta love it. That's just wild. That's just bananas to me. Another man, like I said, I apologize again for the names. I do a really bad job with this, but I'm going to try my best. Amar Abdul Majid Mohammed Saeed. I think that's how it was. That was a long name. Like, I thought Mexicans had long names because I'm Mexican. I don't even got a middle name, so I feel like I got cut out short. I feel like I got cut short because like a lot of Mexicans I know, even like my own family members, like my siblings, Like, they all got middle names and shit and, like, full names. And some of them got multiple names. And, you know, and it's got, like, my first and last name. I feel like I got gypped. I bet you when they were making my social security card, too, back in the day, they're like, oh, he's only got 2 names? What the hell? Like, they probably almost gave me, like, an honorary one. Who knows? Okay, let me try to say his name one more time, and I'll get back to it. Amar Abdul Majid Mohammed Saeed. This Melvindale resident, which is pretty close to where I live, and former Michigan Army National Guardsman, was arrested in 2025 and charged with attempting to provide material to support ISIS. He was accused of plotting a mass shooting at the Detroit Arsenal in Warren. Yikes. Imagine if that would have went through, you know, if I wasn't for these people doing their hard work out here with these investigations and tapping everybody's phones, because we get up like, we get all pissed about no privacy and stuff like that. But then sometimes they find dudes like this, and it kind of just makes you feel good for a second. And then you're just like, all right, stop watching me, you know, and then you got to go wait for them to find the next person, you know. It's kind of wild, but it's interesting when these people get busted, because a lot of this stuff doesn't always make the news because they always got to talk about, you know, black crime and stuff like that. And at least that's what it is in my news. That's all they got to do. That's all they show. Another shooting, you know, but they won't talk about this stuff here. In 2017, 2 men, including one with ties to Michigan, were arrested for terrorist activities on behalf of Hezbollah. The operative, Ali Kourani, was accused of surveilling U.S. military and law enforcement facilities. Dang. And they busted that dude too, but there was 2 of them, and it doesn't seem like they named the other person, but they were tied with Lebanese Hezbollah operatives. That's kind of wild. And they're right here in Michigan. Like, we could have been sitting next to them at Comerica Park watching a baseball game. A nasty baseball game right now. They've been, sorry guys, it's been a tough one. It's been a tough one at the end here. It's been tough at the end of the stretch. But man, or maybe your mailman. You know, it could have been, this guy could have been your mailman. You just never know. You just never know right now. Michigan be hiding these secret guys. And you know, when we still have this problem with, like, the borders were open and they're trying to clean things up. You know, a lot of people could have got through during all this stuff. Like, or were they already here? Who knows? You know, it's really hard to tell and point the fingers at a specific time, even though this is when they were actually busted and apprehended and things like that. This is where it's pretty interesting things here. Detroit sleeper cells. In 2002, the Department of Justice indicted a group of men in the Middle Eastern descent suspected of being a sleeper cell and plotting the attack on Disneyland. A 2001 Michigan State Police report had mentioned the possibility of such cells in the Detroit area. Wow, and these guys were on the heat. They were, like, right on their trails. You know, it's pretty wild and interesting, you know, the way things are seeming like they're amping up out here with a lot of instability and things like that. And some of these things that are happening at the same time, you know, some of these events were happening. We were going through pandemics. We were going through a lot of other riots. You know, crazy things were going on. And all these arrests were happening. And these really kind of didn't seem to make the headlines about these big arrests, you know, because I felt like they were trying to still fuel the fire. Like, you know, maybe we would have gotten a good mood hearing about some of these, you know, busts. And I'm sure there's probably some in your local towns, wherever you guys are from. Wherever state or country or wherever you're from watching. Let me know where you guys are tapping in from in the comments. That'd be pretty cool. And, you know, you never know because, you know, sometimes local news headlines don't really want to promote these kind of things. And it's good to promote some positive things when you can once in a while because it kind of makes you feel a little safe. And we're like, where's my money going? And then you go read some articles like this. You're like, oh, I'll be quiet then. But when it comes to our governor, it's like, where's my money going? You know, because there ain't no articles about what she's doing. It's all about what she's not doing. But I'll leave that one alone for another time. I mean, I kind of went at her a lot. But I mean, let's see what else I can find out in Michigan, and I will be sure to share them with you. Well, my name is Simon, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent News. Till next time, humans. See ya.